The Business Founders Coalition recently organized a press conference to address issues around private equity and venture capital funding in Nigeria. Dr. Richardson Ajayi, founder SynLab Nigeria Family Pathcare, advocated for a better investment climate for Nigerian entrepreneurs.
The objective of this meeting is to draw the attention of key stakeholders, especially the government of the Federation and the business community, to the plight of Nigerian entrepreneurs who, out of sweat and grit, started their businesses, but at some point in the pursuit of growth, they have had to access venture capital funds or foreign investments. Our experiences have largely been tale of woes, which has a possibility of stunting the growth of indigenous businesses like ours and really, indeed, development in Nigeria. You will agree with us that the issue and conditions of controlling rights is exceedingly difficult to fight when looking for vital investment. As a coalition, we have no objective on the surface of it to foreign investment, which we consider to be crucial for national development. Our objective is not to deride it or even paint everybody with the same tar. There are many good private equity companies and many successful private equity transactions, as well as patient private equity players that understand the challenges of our market. But unfortunately, there are some who come to Nigeria literally to hijack our companies. Our intention, therefore, is to lead the charge in drawing attention to this unwholesome practice and advocate for a better investment climate for Nigerian entrepreneurs.
He also gave his perspective on the concerns around private equity investors taking control of Nigerian businesses and called for the intervention of the federal government.
From my experience, we have realized that some foreign investors do not come to invest in Nigeria to develop Nigeria. They have come in only to make money and to expand their business, and we believe the government should put policies in place to ensure that the investments ultimately drive national development. Such positions are not isolated, and we can learn from what other countries have done. Many developing countries use foreign direct investment, protectionism linked to strategic sectors and national champions.
The media parley featured Mr. Obinna Ekezie, the co-founder WakaNow, as he shared their story with private equity investors and brought to the fore the objective of the coalition, which is aimed at interfacing with government to create conducive environments for local businesses in Nigeria.
Our objective here is to ensure that we create a conducive environment for growth for Nigerian entrepreneurs, because we are the ones that create the jobs, we're the ones that create the opportunities. Without our vision, without our investment, without our courage, these private equity company guys that come into hijack companies have none to invest. None of them have any experience to build companies. They have not built companies on their own, most of them that have this kind of attitude, because any investor, any private equity guy that has actually built a business and going to private entrepreneur understands the pain and the courage and the risk that is taken to even start the business from ground zero and build to the point where it can even attract private equity. So, as Richard said, we've had enough of this. We need to engage to the highest level of government, all the way to the presidency, and we're ready to go to any level to ensure that we fix this problem and we create a balance. And we're not adverse to private equity, and Richard mentioned that earlier, but we just need the right kind of private equity. People that are ready to come and partner with us, not coming to take us out, take us our livelihood, take our vision, take out the vision of people that work for these companies, because what happens is that as they come in, they have this cutthroat mentality, they start firing people and doing all kinds of things because all they're thinking about is the Excel sheet that I've developed, and they're all analysts at the end of the day. So we are here standing together, and I'm sure that by the end of this session and as we go forward, this group is going to continue to grow, and then we're going to be moving forward together to ensure that we protect our businesses and protect the future of Nigerian entrepreneurship. Thank you very much.
The session also featured Mrs. Bukola George, founder CEO Health Plus, as she provides her own experience with Alta Semper, the private equity investor that pledged $18 million in the business as foreign partners.
In May 2020, we filed a suit and served Alta Semper LLC UK. Alta Semper requested for an informal mediation, which lasted for 3 months. We had 3 meetings over a 3-month period, and they absolutely frustrated it. Just last week, Friday, directors of Alta Semper visited our office, and their intent was to forcibly remove me as the CEO, take over the company's IT, accounts, and security systems, and install a chief transformation officer, a certain Chidi Okoro. All these in defiance of the existing court action. All these without a board resolution and without approved minutes of a board meeting. And I have a few recommendations here, which will probably, have been mentioned earlier, but I'll go through them real quick. We need policies to be passed in order to regulate the activities of PE firms in Nigeria, especially the foreign ones. Founders and businesses must be protected from the pitfalls associated with PE firms. We need to implement learnings from developed and developing countries on financing SMEs in order to scale in a less painful way. We need to better invest the trillions sitting with our PFAs. Intentional policies must be put in place for mid-sized companies that employ hundreds and thousands of Nigerians to support their scale in order to achieve their potential and ultimately enhance the economy. Thank you.
Mr. Tsiliwa Adebayo, an economist, shares his perspective on the development.
There's definitely funds that are out there, but unfortunately, these are not the right funds. And I think that is why I want to align with what the presentation you made earlier about this venture capital fund. So I think it is important that out of this 17 or 15 trillion naira that is available, or the central bank is to create, it's important that I think the media should sensitize that the capital we need in Nigeria is venture capital, not all these Bank of Industry intervention loans. How many people get those loans? And can somebody even tell me what the balance sheet of Bank of Industry is? How many loans have they given out to industries and companies, even with all the things you see on TV? It's not enough for the size of this economy. So it is important that we try to channel some of this 15 trillion into a venture capital fund that can be used to buy out the funds that have been you are being strangled with, to be able to give some relief. That is also part of the intervention. In a recession, in a depression, central banks all over the world are creating liquidity and funding. So if they are channeling some of these to agriculture at 2%, 3%, I think that a significant portion of that should be channeled towards private equity, not even private equity, venture capital, to be able to take out these loans and give you a Naira balance sheet, to be able to give you money to lend in Naira and also repay in Naira. And I think that in that case, we can get the growth that we need. Our economy is growing at maybe minus 3%. Our population is growing at about 3.5%. So you can see that invariably our population of 180 million is becoming a liability. Because if our economy is not growing as fast as our population or better than our population, then we're going to cause problems. So, and if you guys in this sector are being repressed, then you cannot see the growth. Any country, China, is the entrepreneurs of your size, the mid-sized companies, the small-sized companies that creates growth, creates employment that drives the economy. How many people is Dangote employing? How many people is Nestle employing? PZ, all these big companies, put them all together compared to a group of maybe all the small businesses in Lagos. They employ more people than all these companies put together.
The event also featured a question and answer session moderated by the media officer of the coalition, Mr. Yomi Badejo Okusoya.
We must create an environment that it can be easy for those coming behind us to go into this. And what we are talking about is not strange. It's done in many countries, even a lot of smaller countries. Go to Rwanda. You can't do it in Rwanda. We can't do it. You can't do it. Look, okay, you can't even do it in Ghana. Look at what happened in Ghana. As much as we have done for Ghana and all of that, you can't do that in Ghana. You can't do it in South Africa. We invested in a business in South Africa, and the business did not go well. Even to wind up the business, we had to put money. You know why? They said to us that you employed these people, and you can't just let them go. So you must pay them money for the next 6 months or thereabout. Even though the company went bust, you must provide money for the next 6 months, otherwise you are liable. And you know some of the experiences some of our Nigerian companies have had in South Africa. So why are we allowing it?
Where there is an absence of capital, you fall prey to some predatory lending activities, because these guys will promise you the world, but they need to take control of your business. Okay, and it seems okay. You're an entrepreneur. This is an opportunity for growth, and if you 51%, it doesn't. You know, I trust you. It's a relationship. So you give, but the moment you've given that concession, the game is over. If they're good people, good private equity people, then it's okay. But the ones that come to hijack will use that against you. And I'm not a lawyer, but I just don't think it makes sense for someone to work very hard, and just because you need growth capital, you lose your business. That cannot make sense for Nigeria. That cannot make sense for the next generation of entrepreneurs that are coming behind us. They say we're being emotional. Yes, we're entrepreneurs. We're emotional. That's why we set up businesses. If we're not emotional, we wouldn't do it. We're passionately connected with what we do. And so when you come in and you say you want to support our vision, don't use that against me. I think it is something the government needs to look at, because don't extinguish the passion of entrepreneurship in Nigeria, because the banks are not looking after us. There are no intervention, there are no funds that we can hold on to. So these guys are just waiting to cherry pick the best assets. That cannot make sense for Nigeria at 60. Thank you very much.
One major takeaway from this briefing is the concerns raised by Nigerian businesses on policies in the nation that regulate the activities of private equity firms, especially the foreign ones. According to them, founders and businesses must be protected from pitfalls associated with private equity firms.